Today on Locked On Canadiens, it's our mailbag, and Laura and I get a question we are uniquely qualified to answer. Who has the best hair on the Montreal Canadiens?
You are Locked On Canadiens, your daily podcast on the Montreal Canadiens. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into episode 1368 of Locked On Canadiens. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day and for subscribing wherever you get your podcast doing that supports us here on the show and ensures you don't miss an episode, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. My name is Ian Boisvert, also known as @MaybeIt'Ian, and I'm joined as I always am by Laura Saba, also known as the Active Stick. Laura, another week through the summer. We're getting closer. Soon we're going to be hearing that the players are reporting. But these are the shows that get us through this, right? The mailbag, we get to hear from our lovely listeners, hear what they have to think, and they ask a lot of really fun questions. And this week they did not disappoint as usual.
I look forward to Friday all the time, whether it's regular season or it's the off season. I love the mailbag questions. And I want to get a jump on next week because I'm going to be doing a mailbag solo again. So send me crazy, cool questions in advance. Thank you so much. If we don't get to any today, I will move them to next week's mailbag.
There you go. All right. Well, let's without further ado, let's just jump right into this. We have a lot of questions, especially from folks that we hear from a lot. So we like to keep those guys coming back. Let's start with our friend Randy on Bluesky. STJ Randy asks, best hair on the Habs. Who desperately needs a crew cut, and why is it Gallagher and Patrik Laine? I feel like Laine used to have a really great mane. He used to, and then whatever was happening in Winnipeg just harshed his vibe.
Yeah,
and it all fell out.
Yeah, but at least he's not in denial about it, unlike some Toronto Maple Leafs captains I could name.
I mean, Brendan Gallagher's in denial about it. Look at the man.
I know. Brendan Gallagher, I feel like he was never very fashion forward, style forward, let's say. And which is like the exact opposite of his wife, who's incredibly stylish and gorgeous. And I feel like she will eventually fix it.
I can fix him for sure.
Okay, so talking about best hair, like a couple of the best hair have departed. Christian Dvorak had fantastic hair, curly and thick, and Yoel Armia had like amazing hair, like it was glossy. So I'm trying to think, like, if we're talking about what they do with it, I feel like Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield have a good idea of what to do with their hair to make it like, the best it could possibly be. But if we're looking at like shiny, beautiful locks, I think Samuel Montembeault has like very shiny, beautiful, thick hair. So I do feel like Samuel Montembeault gets the award for me.
Montembeault is the second one that came to mind, and I think he's only second because he's behind a mask, right? Like oftentimes his face is obscured. All the time, these guys' hair, for the most part, is obscured. But there's one correct answer to this for me, and it's Caden Gooley. It's Prince Charming. Like the dude he's got like the flowing gold locks of hair. Like that's the guy for me. Like if you were looking for hockey hair, he looks like Prince Charming from Shrek. Like they are 1-to-1 analogs for one another.
100%.
It's Caden Gooley for me. Let's do one more from Randy here. It's not hockey related, but Concordia University sent a rocket into space this week to no national coverage. First space launch from Canada in 28 years. First time for students as well. What good news from this week do you think people need to know?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I was not prepared for this. I really wasn't, because you know what? I saw the hair question and I think I thought that other question was like a continuation of it. But there's always like little pieces of good news. I think the flight attendant strike being over and them getting paid for work they're actually doing is a huge bit of good news. It's not just good news, like a small bit of good news. It's huge good news because it sets the bar for the rest of the flight attendants in North America.
Yeah, that's what else could there be other than, positive labor rights movements? Like that's what we can all get behind that.
Yeah.
I don't have another response that will be as good as a rocket launch or a flight attendants getting their due. So we'll leave that one there. Let's stick with style here. Our friend Erica writes in, if you could choose anyone on the current roster to swap wardrobes with style icon Patrik Laine, who would it be and why? Who do you think would match well with the style Patrik Laine has?
I'm going to say Alex Carrier because he can wear
Great
anything
answer. Great
and
answer.
make it look like hot. Not just stylish. He can make whatever color combinations Patrik Laine comes up with. I think like sometimes he does like tie-dye in his head and then like goes and buys outfits to match that. But I think Alex Carrier would look fantastic in anything that Laine wears.
I think that's a great answer. I think a really funny answer is Sam Montembeault because Laine kind of dresses like a Bond villain. Him and Jacques have like very similar tastes, both
Yes.
in like suits, the colors, the way that they how they wear their pants, the hats. They have very similar tastes. But like Montembeault's such like a nice, kind-hearted guy that if he started wearing that stuff to games, I think it would start to scare people. Like is Sam okay? Is that something happened with Sam at home? Like we need to be worried about this guy.
That'd be really funny.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. All right, let's jump to a fun one here from our friend Amelia Pond. Sponsorship deal Omania. It's a game that Amelia has posed to us, so I think this will take us into our first break here. Individually, choose 3 players each. We did not pick 3. You have to understand. And what sponsorship deals they should get. The actual game. Tell the other person the brand or sponsorship only. Your co-host must guess the corresponding player. I don't know how the points work. The points work like whose line and that they're made up and they don't matter. And it's really just how much fun we have. So Laura, do you have one you want to start us with? And I'll try to guess the player.
I have a couple. So I have a few. I think maybe between us we can come up with 4. So my first one is elegant notebooks a la Moleskine notebooks. They don't have to be the same.
Yeah.
So who do you think?
Who likes a nice notebook?
Like a very classy, gentlemanly notebook.
A very classy, gentlemanly notebook. Why do I want to say Arbor Jackai for some reason? I feel like he
correct.
Yeah, I feel like that fits. Explain your reasoning there, because I feel like that was just a vibe check, and I think I passed.
Yeah. Because I think that like one of the things that, and I know like, there's lots of problematic stuff with whatever, but I feel like the concept of a violent gentleman, it fits Arbor Jackai, right? Like you talked about a Bond villain, right? Like a Bond villain like is generally like a very elegant, classy, like has everything together, is just super on top of stuff. So that's exactly how I picture Arbor Jackai. Like he's very violent on the ice, but he's very classy in real life. That's how I picture it. Now, if you've met him at like the Budweiser stage or whatever, and you can contradict that, you can send us an email, lockedoncanadiens@gmail.com. I want to know.
I wonder what his taste in pens would be. Like, what's his favorite pen to use? There's correct answers to that, and I would like to know. I would like to ask all of the players, what's your favorite pen? I think that explains a lot about them. I'll give you mine next. Bandages. Who is the sponsor for bandages, Laura?
It has to be Brendan Gallagher.
He doesn't stop bleeding. Like I'm shocked it hasn't happened yet. Like that's one that I'm like, wait, are we retconning this? Is this already happened? It has to have happened, and it hasn't. But yes, you're right. It is Brendan Gallagher.
My next one is a local spa.
A local spa. Who likes to be a chill guy? Maybe Patty, but I don't know if spas are Patty's deal. Who would like a local spa?
I went a little bit out there because I do think that Caden Gooley, I know he's from Alberta and he's like Alberta beef and he like has farmer whatever. I just feel like he probably enjoys a nice spa.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, if the hair is anything for us, that sort of thing matters, right? Like I think that's an important one. All right, my last one here. A local cereal brand, a national cereal brand in Canada.
Cole Caulfield.
Cole Caulfield's a good one.
It's not the answer?
It's not the answer. I went with Snacks Sam Montembeault, and you could call them Montembeaus. Like that's
Montembeaus? Like
they're like little O's. Yeah, exactly. Montembeaus would be incredible. I would buy out the stock. There would be none left. Cole Caulfield's would be good too, because you could just do like I don't know, Coles or whatever. You could do that.
Yeah.
I don't where did cereal sponsorships go? Like what happened? We used to be like all about putting famous people on cereal, and that's just gone, and now we've just taken like pre-existing brands and you're a cereal now.
We used to be a society.
We used to be there used to be a social contract that's gone. Like it doesn't exist anymore. We live in a post-rules society.
Yes. Okay, I got one more brand and we'll be quick.
Yeah.
Squishmallows.
Squishmallows. Who would want a squishmallow? That one feels like maybe Cole Caulfield, but is it Cole Caulfield? Yeah, I could imagine he has a bunch of stuffies. I could bet that that's the case.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely it. So, did we get all of them right? No,
I
we
think
didn't.
we
we got most of them.
I think we had fun. I think that's all that really matters on this show is that we're having a good time. Hope you had a good time. And I hope you continue to have a good time with us when we come back. We've got some more questions in our mailbag, including whether or not Pascal Vincent finishes the season with the Laval Rocket and who are some breakout candidates for the Canadiens. And we'll get into all that in just a minute here on Locked On Canadiens. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you could even splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredibly fast last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. This is one that I know Laura and I like. Scott, you can throw him in there as well. We used Game Time to buy the tickets to the Buffalo game that we went to last year. It made it super easy. We were able to see our seat before we bought them, pick out the best deals in the stadium. It was really, really helpful from Game Time to see the seat views and collaborate together to find the tickets for us to finally meet all in person. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, we are back. Let's start with Francis Tardif here from Bluesky, who asks, who is the most likely breakout candidate on this team? My two favorites are Slav and Bolduc. Who is a breakout candidate for the Montreal Canadiens in this upcoming season, Laura?
I think the logical answer would be Reinbacher, or would have been more Reinbacher before Kent Hughes said we are prepared to pump the brakes on that. So I think Bolduc is a pretty good one. I really do. I'm going to go like absolute dark horse. I'm going to say Oliver Kapanen. I'm going to say he's going to make the team, and I'm going to say he's going to have a breakout year. When I say breakout year, he's not going to score like 40 goals, but he's going to hit the ceiling for himself.
Yeah, I think him breaking out would just be establishing himself as an everyday NHLer. Like for a lot of NHL young players, that's how you do it. You don't have a massive season where you score, 50, 60 points. You establish yourself as a player that the coach looks at you and goes, well, I can't take Kapanen out of the lineup, right? Like that's not the case right now. He just hasn't been able to do that. So I think that's a great pick. The easy one is Demidov, right? Like super easy to be like, yes, this is the year Demidov pops off. Well, yeah, we all kind of expect that to be the case. The back of my mind still keeps going Kirby Dach. And yes, I know injury problems and we don't know what he'll be like when he comes back. But that's if you're looking for a guy who is not expected to have a breakout season, who could very well have one if he stays healthy. Again, that's an if as large as he is. It's difficult to imagine that he has any kind of success if he's hurt again. But if he doesn't, like I think that he's got everything there to be that guy. Let's move on. Bill Van Vagel here. He asks, I know they might not be Habs priorities, but I am curious that Jack Roslovic and Matt Grzelcyk have not been signed. Given you might have some inside sources. Inside source here is no, we don't. It's fine. Any ideas why? I know there was some talk when free agency opened that Roslovic could be on the Habs radar. Are either player a possible August Hughes signing? I find Roslovic to be pretty interesting because why hasn't this guy signed yet?
Vancouver Germs.
Yeah, was he in Vancouver?
Wasn't he in Vancouver?
He was in Carolina last. He was in Columbus. He was a Jet for a while. I don't think he was in Vancouver, but I mean that could be air transmission. It's possible. he's a center who can, put up a good amount of points. And I don't.
Oh, sorry. I'm so
Why
sorry.
did you think Vancouver?
Because they didn't want to sign him.
Oh,
So
you
now I'm
saw
even
half the
more
headline.
interested in him.
Yeah. um, I find him interesting because, it seems like every year there's one guy who overplays his hand in the musical chairs that is NHL free agency, and they find themselves on the outside looking in. But a lot of teams still have money and they don't want to sign him, or maybe he's holding out. I mean, if Montreal's trying to move Price's contract September 1st, doesn't that make sense if you're a guy like Roslovic? Again, I'm not drawing a line there, but if you're looking for the playbook of how he ends up being a Montreal Canadian, that's what it looks like at this point, right?
Right. Absolutely. I just think that he's probably just not on their priority list right now. Like that's not an area they're looking in. That's what it feels like to me. I'm sorry. I don't know who I was thinking of that was on the Vancouver Canucks.
That's all
I
right.
just got
I
confused.
typically don't love thinking about the Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, in our last episode, when we were talking about things we're not looking forward to, one of the things I said was almost the Vancouver Canucks being the drama that never ends. I just don't want to hear about that team ever. It's very annoying. Just every episode of 32 Thoughts. Okay, here's the soap opera that's happening in Vancouver. I cannot handle it for another year. Cannot
No,
happen.
no.
All right, moving on. Let's do one from Saku to Suzuki. Question for Ian. Why do you like Patrik Laine so much? I find him such an incredibly frustrating player to watch and cheer for. His lack of 200-foot game, his 6'5" frame, but almost zero physical play, feels like a one-trick pony, which is with his shot on the power play. While I just do is an acceptable answer, hoping you could explain more. I can explain more. All of those things that you said about Patrik Laine are true. Those are things that we can see from him on a nightly basis. Now, last year he was dinged up the entire time. And he was still. I find that the concept of dinging a player as a one-trick pony when the one trick is an unstoppable one-timer, I find that to be odd because goals are constantly at a premium in this league, and you have a guy who, when he's healthy, yes, it's last year with his lack of mobility and conditioning was a one-trick pony just positioned on that power play. But even in that moment, he finished like third in the league with power play goals, and he played half the year. Like I think a lot about the Bill Belichick line, "Do your job." You find a guy who does a thing, and you go do that thing. One of the biggest sins of the Marc Bergevin era was that those teams were never comfortable letting players be who they were. They wanted to take the parts of players that were great, like their offense, and say, well, you're not good enough defensively. And in doing that, you make all of your players average. You don't have any skill guys. You ever play the ice hockey game on NES where you pick like the guys based on what size they are, and there's like a normal size guy, and then there's like a tall, skinny guy, and then there's a big guy, and like they all have different skill sets. But if you just pick all normal guys, you don't have an edge. You're just an average team. You need people like Laine on your roster who, yes, he's not a complete player, but that shot is deadly, and we know it is. I also just think he has a great attitude with how he handles the pressure of sports. I know that wasn't always the case, but he has done a lot of work to get to a place where he's comfortable doing that. The dude is a rock star. This is when you think of high flying offensive talent, like Laine is a guy that comes to mind. Yes, it always hasn't worked out that way, but like I always take swings on upside. I swinging for floors is boring. He can play a 200-foot game, but most we can expect out of him is 20 points a season. But barf. I'm not interested. Like, I think a lot of the reason we don't like Laine right now is the cap hit, which fair. His next cap hit, I'm doubtful it'll look like that, whether it's here or somewhere else. So I hope that kind of clarifies why he's my dude. I do agree with all of this stuff that they said. Like, he's not a 200-foot player. He never would have claimed to be. Sometimes he can throw a hit, but it's not a regular part of his game. He's not going to get pushed around. We know that. So I understand why fans are not at the same place with him that I am. You're entitled to your opinion just as much as I am, but that's why for me. Laura, I'm going to give you the last word here on this segment because I just kind of barfed out words for what feels like an hour.
The only thing I'm going to say is that I don't think he's entirely a one-trick pony. I just don't. I think that yes, he is very good at that one thing, and it is very special. I just think that, like, if you think of him as a one-trick pony, he's essentially just like Mike Hoffman with a better shot, and that's not him,
No.
right?
It's a good point. He has
Yeah.
great hands. His hands were great when the rest of his body wasn't moving. Like, he was making incredible dekes like at 1 mile an hour.
Yes. So I think a healthy Laine will make people see more in him than just a pure one-timer.
Yeah.
And that's my hope. That's the last word.
I love the sort of media tour he's on this summer. Not so much in speaking to the media, but just he's on the ice in front of a camera almost every day. He wants us to know that he's doing the work, and I really love that for him and for this team and for us who get to watch him. So thank you for the question. We're going to step aside for our last break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Pascal Vincent and figure out if a team comes calling, will he leave the Laval Rocket? We'll get into all of that in just a minute here on Locked On Canadiens. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who like to live bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. If you've watched this show for a while, you've probably seen me wearing my Washington Commanders jersey. So, of course, I'm coming at you with some futures for my Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, quarterback, is a plus 1,000 for MVP. He's very high. He's just behind Patrick Mahomes in that race. He's last year's Rookie of the Year. So I think that's one that I would like to take a flyer on. And also the Commanders are plus 1,000 to win the NFC Championship. They got to that game last year. I think maybe they can get through it this year. If you're riding with me, go ahead and hit up FanDuel Futures Day to get some deals on those. Visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now because Futures Day is only one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. All right, we are back. Let's get to this Pascal Vincent question. We don't get a lot of Laval Rocket coaching questions, which is very odd because there was some rumors this summer that Vincent was being looked at for a job elsewhere. Jason Libb asks, do you think Pascal Vincent will remain with the Rocket all season? Or if an NHL team comes calling for a mid-season coaching change, will the Habs block him from interviewing? What are your thoughts there?
I don't think the Habs are going to block him from interviewing. I don't think he's Jeff Gordon, right? And I honestly, like, we hear a lot of stuff about Jeff Gordon and the Habs blocking, blah, blah, blah. I do think that they talk to him first. Like, listen, this team's interested, but we don't want to let you go, so we're going to say no. Are you good with that? Blah, blah, blah. All right. I just think that with Pascal Vincent, like, at the end of the last season, when the playoffs were over, Scott was pretty sure he was leaving. And I think the reason was because there were talks with other NHL teams. I think if it's not an NHL team, he's not going anywhere. But if an NHL team does come calling, I don't think the Habs stand in their way because that's not the organization they are. They want to be the place that everybody wants to be. So you don't do that by blocking your AHL coach from moving up. And also, if you are a smart organization, you have someone as a succession plan, right? You have someone in mind as a succession plan. You have someone you're looking at in the queue. You have someone you're looking at, in the organization, whatever it is, right? So I just personally think that he might also just not be the top of someone's list. And so it'll be a few coach firings down the line.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a rule in the National Hockey League, but I believe it's just best practice that if an employee of yours is offered a better job, like a higher up job at another place, you don't block them. I think back to when the Oilers decided to can Jay Woodcroft and go with, and now I'm blanking on his name because he was Connor McDavid's old coach in Erie. He was coaching in Hartford of the American Hockey League, and he just left. He went to Edmonton immediately. If you get that job, teams are not going to stand in the way of you getting to the National Hockey League. So if he were to get a job, I don't think the Canadiens would hate it. Vincent stepped in for Montreal in a big way. You remember Uhl just stepped down weeks after signing an extension to go coach. Was it college hockey or high school hockey? I think it was college. And Vincent was available and stepped in and coached an incredible season with Laval. So I think Montreal, while they would hate to see him go, you got to give it to him, right? Like that's a huge opportunity for that guy. All right, Paul Brand Show sends us a hat trick of questions here. Why hasn't Nestle reached out to partner with the Canadiens to sell a limited edition Caulfield Crisp bar? Soup Milchick would be all over that. Possible fun summer segment idea. What are other possible candy collaborations do you think that would be possible with Habs players? What are some Habs candy combinations you can think of? Sam Montembeau's name is Snacks. You just throw him on anything.
Yeah, just any Nestle bar. Any kind of bar, actually. I also just wanted to think of like, I know it's not a candy bar, but like I feel like Brendan Gallagher would be really great with like a Pringle type chip. Something about it. Caden Gooley has never eaten a sugar in his life. And like I feel like Alex Carey probably hasn't either. I don't know. Maybe Mike.
I have one.
Go for it.
It's not a player though. What about Smarty St. Louis? It's right there. It's right there. I think that's perfect.
I love it.
All right, next question from Paul. He sends us a video. In this video, it is suggested that someone who worked for the company that poured the concrete in the current home of the Maple Leafs left some kind of Canadiens coin in the center ice concrete, similar to the Lucky Looney from the 2002 Olympics. Setting aside how funny that is, if it's true, does this mean the Leafs are cursed, or is it just another excuse for Toronto fans to use that team's predictable playoff failures? Also, how does a coin and cement explain blowing the 3-1 lead? Finally, do the Canadiens have only one affordable place in Toronto, seeing as we live rent-free in their heads? That was... I mean, Paul, take a bow on that one. That was a 2-paragraph slam of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I have to hand it to you on that one. Do you believe in things like that? In like tokens?
I just want to say, look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. How can you not believe in something like that?
It's true. For any other team, I'd be like, nah. But for them, like, you have to believe in ghosts. Like you just have to.
Something. If it's not the loony in the basement or whatever, it's something. It's something.
Not even that they're like particularly great, but they should have just lucked into doing better at this point. Like the 2011 Bruins fell face first into winning a Stanley Cup. I don't know how this generation of the Leafs hasn't just like, oops, sorry, we're in the conference final. Like it never happened. Last question from Paul. Should I bother bringing my Habs cap to Greece with me next month, or is that being an ugly tourist? Last time I wore my Habs cap on vacation, someone asked me if it was the Chicago Bears logo. I could either confirm or deny that individual's body disappeared. Where are you at on wearing Habs gear around the world?
I am 100% for it because you get to meet people that way. I was wearing a Markov shirt in like the United Arab Emirates, and I met a Habs fan there. So like, just do it. It's a great way to meet people. And if the person's a creep, just like magically turn into a Leafs fan and just be like, I'm actually, it's like how people sew Canadian flags on their backpacks. You're wearing a Canadiens jersey or a Canadiens cap or a Canadiens shirt instead of a Leafs one. Just fake it.
Yeah. I mean, I live in the States. I wear it all the time, and you run into people all the time who have stuff to say. A lot of times they're enemy fans. But sometimes, and I mentioned this story a lot, it's a guy at the driving range who yells as he's leaving the building, they need that 2C. Like you can just, it's a nice, this is a community, right? That's kind of what we like to foster on the show. If you were to find not only a Canadiens fan, but somebody who listens to this show in another country, that's cool. You wear merch so you can find your friends. Like that's what you do.
Also, if any of you ever meet, you need to send us a picture.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, last one of the week here from Alexander Christian. This one's unfortunately sort of an Ian-specific one, since I imagine Laura's answer is, I grew up here, this is what you do. But I do want to throw to you to get your response as well, because I know that's not necessarily true. But what is your path to Habs hockey fandom? Alexander goes on to say that grew up in New England, in New Hampshire, with Quebec relatives, listened to the radio, became a big hockey fan, and decided I'm a Canadiens fan. Spent a lot of time in Montreal. Taught himself the language. Pretty cool stuff. Mine is fairly simple. My dad grew up in Montreal. I have French Canadian heritage. When I was a kid, I wanted to watch hockey with him, and that's it's kind of boring, but that's really it. I got into watching the game a lot, decided to start blogging, and then I ended up here. So, we all have different paths. I thought, it's not, Scott is an American as well. He picked a team. He fell in love with the team. He picked the right one. There you go. But Laura, what is your Habs villain origin story? Like, where did you start?
So I didn't actually grow up in Montreal. I'm an immigrant.
Gasp.
Oh no. I have lived in Montreal for now almost 2/3 of my life though. I just happened to go to a game, and it just happened to be Saku Koivu coming back with a standing ovation. There's no way you go back from that, right? There's no way you ever turn your back on the Habs after experiencing that. There's no way you don't fall in love with the game, you don't fall in love with the player, you don't fall in love with the team. Like, the team sucked. I'm sorry, they did. But I thought
did you know what you were experiencing in the moment? Like, did you understand the gravity of it?
Yes. So the person who took me explained everything. It wasn't just like out of the blue. And I had been curious about going to a hockey game, and the way that those tickets surfaced was pure luck as well. And there was another circumstance where it wasn't a situation where the person couldn't go, but when the Habs Centennial game rolled around, it was literally the person got better tickets, and like it was too late. So I got those tickets, and my friend and I went. So
have I told you that you're Habs Forrest Gump? Like, you are at I think if we go back to like the picture of Maurice Richard shaking hands, covered
I'm there.
Laura's just in the background. Like, I swear you were going to show up in all of the big moments. We need to start sending you to playoff games.
Well, this is the next thing. Goal. No, I'm like my playoff record is hit or miss, but I'm sure if it's a clinching game, I've never been to a clinching game, I'm sure something will happen, but it has to be like kind of like a freak accident or something like that. Like, the way that I get the tickets can't be like I bought the tickets. It has to be like, unfortunate circumstances that somebody couldn't go, or like the first one was like, I think that person had to work and then had to give the relative the tickets, and I got to go. And then the second one was just like they got better seats, so we were like up in the nosebleeds, and he was like down, smelling Guy Lafleur. But
Hope not.
so it's all just not now, the Centennial game.
No, even so, you shouldn't be smelling people at hockey games. Like, that's just, I have a line that you can't, that's a line you can't cross. You shouldn't be like doing that on purpose.
Yeah, but you get the stink when you're sitting behind the bench.
Yeah.
You do get the stink. Anyway, so all of it's to say, like, if there's a Stanley Cup final and some sort of freak thing happens and you can't go, you have to call me, so I can be there, and the Habs will win the Stanley Cup.
We'll set up a hotline where you can just call Laura with ticket hits, and we'll figure out the funniest way she can show up at a game.
Yes.
Like, someone had to go find their dog or something. It's like, well, I guess Laura's going to a Stanley Cup final game. That would be really funny. All right. Thank you for sending in your mailbag questions, as always. This is a big part of our week, even when we're only at 3 episodes a week. We love these ones. So thank you. It means a lot that you guys continue to come back and ask us silly questions and genuinely just want to get to know us better. I always kind of appreciate that. It's kind of silly to think that you guys want to know anything more about me. With that, let's hit our trivia and then head out of here for the weekend. So we've been harping on this streak the last few days of the Canadiens' longest streak of consecutive games where they didn't score a goal. It's 4 games set back in 1928. The most since then is 3 games, last done in 2011. We talked about who scored the last goal before the Canadiens went on that streak. It was Tom Pyatt in an 8-1 victory over the Minnesota Wild, and they angered the hockey gods, and that was the end of that. Do you know who scored the goal the first goal to end that streak back in 2011, Laura? Do you have the answer to that?
Yes, it was Roman Hamrlik.
Roman Hamrlik. He has one of my favorite Canadiens pictures of all time. It's of him at the Heritage Classic against Calgary. He's doing his pregame skate, and I think he has a toque on, but he has aviator sunglasses on. He's the coolest dude that has ever existed in that moment. Please go find it if you need to. It's a piece of hockey history. It should be in the Hall of Fame just for photography. Yes, it is one Roman Hamrlik. Super Rain and Jeff Harpel gave us the correct answer. Today's question: which Canadiens defenseman has the most even strength goals in a single season? Of course, we know that the power play goal single season defenseman record is set by Sheldon Surrey, but who has the most even strength goals in a single season for the Montreal Canadiens as a defenseman? If you have the answer, put it in the comments down below this video. Send it to us any way you know how, and we'll shout you out on the next episode of the show. And that is going to do it for us today and this week on Locked On Canadiens. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day, and for subscribing wherever you get your podcast. Doing that ensures you don't miss an episode, and it supports us with your listenership. So thank you for listening. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For your second listen, head on over to Locked On NHL. There's no offseason. They're giving you the daily league-wide stories that matter most from your friends in the local markets. Check out Locked On NHL on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. We are Locked On Canadiens everywhere we are posting things. Bluesky, Instagram, and TikTok primarily. Follow us on those platforms. You can send us an email, lockedoncanadiens@gmail.com. We do these mailbags once a week. Help Laura out next week. I will be out once again, so she's going to need your questions. Make sure you come through. You can find me at Maybe It's Ian. You can find Laura at The Active Stick. Thanks so much for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday.